A spectral figure glides between moss-covered headstones under a misty moonlit sky. On the outskirts of downtown Huntsville, Alabama, lies Maple Grove Cemetery, a sprawling tapestry of moss-draped oaks, weathered headstones, and shadowy winding paths where local legend whispers the name Sally Carter. By day, the grounds brim with morning lilies and the gentle hum of cicadas, but when twilight falls, a hush descends and the air grows unnaturally still. Those who wander too close to Sally Carter's unassuming grave claim to feel a sudden drop in temperature, as though the night air itself recoils from her presence. It begins with a flicker at the periphery of vision, a pale form gliding between the monuments, her outline defined by the soft glow of moonlight filtering through gnarled branches. At first glance, she could be a mourner in white, pausing in reverie, but no earthly veil moves with such uncanny grace. Historians trace her story to the waning days of the Great War, when a soft-spoken nurse named Sally tended wounded soldiers under flickering candlelight. She was known for coaxing life back into the most hopeless cases and for her promise to reunite the lost with loving voices on the other side. Yet fate twisted that promise into something darker. A carriage accident claimed her life on a desolate country road just beyond the city limits. Now her spirit is said to roam the very grounds she once tended, drawn to the quiet sorrow of passing souls. In this immersive narrative, we'll walk moonlit pathways, sift through faded newspaper fragments, and listen to eyewitness accounts as we unravel the layers of truth and legend behind the ghostly presence that has cast its spectral veil over Huntsville's storied cemetery. The legend of Sally Carter. Sally Carter was born in 1893 to a modest family living near the foothills of Montesano. Even as a child, she possessed a haunting beauty, dark curls framing a face both fragile and resolute. In 1917, she answered the call to serve as a volunteer nurse, joining the base hospital as the United States entered the Great War. There are letters preserved in the Madison County archives, edges yellowed and ink faded, in which Sally praised the bravery of wounded soldiers and described the soothing effect of her voice during the darkest hours of night. One missive reads, "I hold their trembling hands as they drift into dreamless sleep. I promise they will not walk alone on the other side." Visitors to the old ledger in Huntsville's historical museum often pause at her name, struck by the tender looping script that seems to echo through the silent halls. Yet, beyond the official records lies the rumor that one soldier, Private Thomas Hale, whispered her vow back to her, "Bring me home," and later returned alone, forever changed by something he wouldn't name. An archival image of Sally Carter tending wounded soldiers in a makeshift wartime hospital. Eerie encounters. Local lore holds that on moonless nights, Sally's spirit glides toward her final resting place, guided by the echo of distant grief. Maurice Bennett, a longtime groundskeeper, recalls a night in 1987 when he glimpsed her pale silhouette beneath a willow tree. He described a hush so profound it felt like time itself held its breath. Maurice says he heard soft humming, an old lullaby once sung to soldiers too injured to answer, and felt a presence so close it brushed his shoulder, as though seeking comfort in a world she no longer inhabited. Word of Maurice's sighting spread, and soon others came forward. Emily Carter, no relation, but by happenstance a local schoolteacher, reported hearing footsteps trailing her as she locked the cemetery gate. Turning, she found no one, yet in the lamplight she caught a glint of something white drifting upward, vanishing into the night sky. A long exposure photograph captures a pale apparition near the cemetery's wrought iron gate. Photographer Alex Ramirez set out in 2015 to capture evidence of the supernatural. His long exposure shots, taken by the crumbling north wall, show what appears to be a faint figure in period attire standing among ancient stones. In the grainy black and white print, the figure's face is blurred, but her posture, head bowed slightly and hands folded at the waist, matches descriptions handed down by generations. When Ramirez revisited the site at dawn, he found fresh footprints in dew-soaked grass, only to discover his own boot prints had not disturbed the moisture. He left the cemetery that morning convinced that Sally Carter's vigil endures, transcending the boundary between life and death. Unveiling the truth. Skeptics have long sought to rationalize Sally's story. In 1998, the Madison County Historical Society commissioned an investigation into local ghost lore, poring over death certificates, obituaries, and period newspapers. Their report confirmed that Sally Carter died in a carriage collision just 2 miles from the cemetery gates, her body brought back for burial at Maple Grove. Contemporary accounts mention a sorrowful funeral procession under gray skies, led by soldiers she had cared for only weeks before. But researchers found no record of Private Thomas Hale returning to Huntsville, only a terse telegram indicating he had been transferred overseas. This absence of evidence fuels speculation that Sally, bound by an unfulfilled promise, seeks to guide lost souls rather than reunite with any particular soldier. Paranormal investigators study headstone alignments under lantern light, seeking signs of ghostly activity. Modern paranormal investigators carry their own theories. Some posit residual hauntings, energies imprinted on the land by trauma, while others argue for intelligent spirit communication, pointing to audio recordings in which a soft voice, barely above static, says, "Stay with me." These EVP fragments have been published on several local blogs, prompting heated debate over authenticity and ethics. Meanwhile, the cemetery itself shows signs of strange activity: an iron gate that creaks open without wind, headstones inexplicably tilting toward one another, and the flicker of pale lights drifting among the mausoleums like will-o'-the-wisps. Yet for every skeptic, there is a believer convinced that Sally Carter's spirit is real and present. On certain dates, her birthday, the anniversary of her death, and Memorial Day, visitors bring white lilies and softly speak her name, hoping to catch a glimpse or to feel the cool brush of her passing. Each ritual rekindles the legend, weaving new threads into the tapestry of Southern folklore. Whether ghost story or cultural treasure, Sally's tale endures, inviting us to question the frontier between memory and myth, life and afterlife. Conclusion: as dawn breaks over Maple Grove Cemetery, the first pale rays of light slip through the willow branches, dissolving mist and mystery alike. Locals leave fresh bouquets at Sally's grave, a promise of remembrance that bridges generations. Whether you believe in restless spirits or view it as poetic memory etched into the land, the legend of Sally Carter's spirit persists as one of Huntsville's most evocative tales. It reminds us that some stories refuse to be buried, calling us to listen to whispers carried by wind-swept oaks. In every creak of an iron gate or soft footstep along the cobblestone path, there lives the quiet echo of a nurse who vowed to guide lost souls and whose spectral vigilance continues to stir hearts and imaginations. For each curious visitor, Maple Grove becomes not just a resting place for the departed but a living stage where past and present entwine, where Sally's promise endures, guiding us to look beyond the veil and discover that the truest legacies are those that linger in memory and myth alike, unbroken by time or tombstone.